thrifters, my name is Tara Dawn and I am a professional thrifter here to teach you all about how to make a profit buying things that you love and then flipping them for like triple, quadruple the price. And today I'm showing you my top 10 most profitable sales from 2019. Yeah, I know we're completely done with 2019, but we have to take a little bit of a look back so that we can improve in 2020. When I say I'm showing you my top 10 sales, we're not talking about smalls. We're not talking about Pyrex dishes or beautiful carnival glass or anything like that. We're gonna be talking about 10 pretty darn unique things that made me the largest profits. And these profits range anywhere between $50 and $200. So with that being said, let's go on ahead and jump into the last little bit of 2019 that we have hanging on. So in case you guys are new to the channel and you're not sure what you're looking at, this is my Airtable spreadsheet. So you guys can get full rundowns of these inside of the what sold area and all of that good stuff. So make sure you're going out and checking those other videos. A link to grab a full training plus access to this exact spreadsheet will be in the description box below. It's 2020, so if you want to get organized with all of this and make sure that your business actually turns a profit and see exactly what profit your business is turning, make sure to grab that below. It's 17 bucks. You get access going forward. So every time we have a new year or a new quarter, you'll get access to each individual new year, new quarter. If I release a new training, you get access to the new trainings. In fact, we are due to release a new training here in like the next 2 weeks or so. If you get it now, you'll get the current training plus the next training. That being said, let me go on ahead and get started like any good countdown does. We're gonna start from the lowest to the highest in profits. The first thing that sold was a 1920s uranium glass sterling silver ring. Now I found this at the bottom of a jewelry jar. It just sold maybe 2 weeks ago. So this is probably one of the most recent sales, but it was from probably the 1920s or the 1930s. I did have it looked at by a jeweler here in Kirkland, and he said that it was not a precious stone, it was glass. But that actually excited me a little bit more than the precious stones. Precious stones are nice and profitable, but what I really liked about this was that it turned out to be a uranium glass. So when I got home, I shined a UV black light on the stone, and this is what it looked like. I think it was before World War I. Could totally be wrong there. They used uranium in glass to tint it, and so a lot of times when you shine rings on depression glass or any kind of uranium glass, it's gonna glow a bright green. I'll blow this one up just a little bit, but you can see it's got beautiful little flowers and tulips in it. The inside, it does say sterling silver on it. This says you can just make out the word sterling right here. That was the only word I can make out. This over here, I believe is the jeweler's signature, but I cannot for the life of me make out what it is. And it was a size 3.5. It was tiny. It didn't even fit on my pinky. It got to like that far. So it's definitely a children's ring. So I got it for 54 cents out of that jewelry jar. Sold it for $85. There was a $7.70 fee for shipping and handling. I made $76.76 on that one. So number 2 on our list goes down as one of my all-time favorite sales, and primarily because it was my biggest first sale ever. So generally before this, I'd probably only been doing this for about a month when I sold this guy. I saw this guy and I thought he's too cool to be just $25. All right, so listen to this because this is a big learning thing. I thought this guy was probably about this big. He's a big camel, but he was a toy. And I thought he's too big and beautifully well made to be $25. There's just no way. He wasn't a small price thing. He didn't really have a stamp on him. He had this on his belly. So he had a multiple, obviously an articulated camel. Is that the right word? Reticulated? Reticulated? I think it might be reticulated. Camel where, you know, the head moves, all of the joints moved, even the tail moved, everything moved. But this was the only stamp that I could find on him, and I couldn't find the stamp anywhere else online. You can see he was originally painted. His mouth still has peach paint with little white teeth. I'm still so in love with him, and I'm so sad that he's gone. And this was like 7 months ago. I love this guy. But I got him for $2.99, and I sold him for $134.10. He did go to Germany, I believe. Fees and taxes were a little bit higher there for $54.64. Remember, that includes shipping. So I made a profit of $79.46 on him. I'm just really, really sad that he's gone, but I'm really glad that he found a new home. But I did get a review for the mannequin camel. I'm just sad he's gone, but he was really cool. This is another really cool piece of jewelry. Guys, if you guys aren't dabbling in jewelry, you should, because you do get a couple of big ones a few times a year if you're really paying attention. So this was a vintage return to Tiffany & Co. I did have it validated. Tiffany's did say it was real. When you have something validated at Tiffany's, there's a really good chance that they are going to say it's not valid, and then they will keep it. And they have every right to do so, unfortunately, because they don't want fake Tiffany's out on the market. This one was validated. This was a 1990s Return to Tiffany Dog Co. along with the original 1990s chain as well. That's a terrible picture. Why? Why? So one side of the clasp said 925, which stands for sterling silver, and then the other, it says Tiffany & Co. I had it validated. They said it was a beautiful piece. It was 1990s, but they will validate things for free. You can either send it in for a fee or you can take it into a Tiffany store. We have one near. So I took it into the Tiffany store, had it validated for free, sold it for $90. There was a fee of $9.40. So I made a profit of $80.01. And again, I found that in a jewelry jar. Sometimes jewelry jars are leftover jewelry that the Goodwill or places like that they don't really want anymore. They can't sell, so they shove it in a jar. But sometimes you get lucky and what they shove in a jar is just a big mass wad of jewelry that they didn't want to spend the time to untangle. And that's where the Tiffany's jewelry came in. So it was just in a big wad of chains and metal that they didn't have the patience to untangle. Number 4 on our list is something that I have had for years. I think I bought it when we were in New Mexico on a family vacation. Had to be in the late 90s because I graduated high school in 2001, which means we probably went on this family vacation in the late 90s. This was a vintage reproduction Bonnie and Clyde newspaper. It had all of the ads intact. It had everything completely intact inside. It wasn't discolored. It had been folded up in between books for years. So it's really cool because you can go in and not only read the Bonnie and Clyde articles, but they also had other articles from the day that were happening at the time. And this edition was right after Bonnie and Clyde were killed in that infamous shootout. So Posse kills Clyde Barrow and Bonnie Parker. That was the cover of the Dallas Morning News. That was $0 because it was something that I've owned for a long time. I sold it for $94.81. Even vintage reproductions go for pretty well. You just have to make it very clear in the description, this is not an original newspaper. This is a reproduction. Most reproductions will say reproduction somewhere in the bottom of the newspaper or in the very top in very small print. This one didn't, but because I remember buying it, I also know that it is not a real newspaper. The fees and taxes on that one were $7.83 because newspapers are really easy to ship. And by the way, I don't think there are any more on this list, but I've probably made another $200 on newspapers because my grandmother had newspapers, my husband's grandmother had newspapers, so we ended up with newspapers about the moon landing, the JFK shootings, Bonnie and Clyde, all sorts of stuff. If there was a huge event, they can sell for a lot. The cheapest newspaper I think I've sold to date so far is around the $50 mark. They do sell for quite a bit. Okay, so $7.83 in fees and taxes, a profit of $86.98. Number 6 on our list is a vintage 1999 Christmas King Kong ornament. Boy, did I have to work for this one. I went to an estate sale over the summer and the woman there was mourning the loss of her mother, which is totally understandable, but she was also just not a very nice person. If you would ask her a question, she would say, I don't care, just do it. You know, she was just very not nice. And she didn't have prices on anything, so you couldn't just pick up something and hand her money. You had to pick up something and say, how much for the ornament? It was always a very awkward conversation because her mother had collected hundreds of these hand-blown Polonaise Kurt Adler ornaments. She literally had an entire kitchen and living room full of boxes and boxes and boxes of these. I didn't know if they were valuable, unfortunately, when I picked these up, so I grabbed 5 and a couple of other antiques that they had, asked her how much she would take for all of it. I ended up paying, I think, around $40 for everything in my arms. This was one of 4 ornaments that I picked up, and so I picked up a vintage Polonaise King Kong hand-blown ornament. Turns out they go for a lot depending on what the subject matter is, especially if it's a movie subject matter, and luckily that's pretty much what I picked up. This one cost me $7. I sold it for $108, which was actually slightly lower than what I think I could have gotten it for, but it was on sale for Christmas. $13 was shipping and handling and Etsy fees, and then $88.28 was what I sold it for, and I did sell this one on Etsy. In case you're also new to the channel, I sell on Etsy, Mercari, and eBay. Number 7 for us.
It was my understanding that there would be no math.
Is going to be the 1957 Child's World 6-volume book set for kids. I had this for approximately 2 weeks before I sold it. It was a collection of, I think, 8 different books. They were beautifully illustrated, probably that thick. It's just like an encyclopedia set for kids. And it basically, each book talked about something different. Let's see, there's 6 books. So you can see there are stories for kids, people for kids, plants and animals for kids, world history for kids, countries, and then the guide, the parent's guide that teaches you how to use this to teach your children. So it was really interesting, especially flipping through the world history book, because a lot of things that have happened in our life hadn't happened then, which I thought was pretty darn cool. So anyways, I got these for $18, and if you're not checking out the book section at Goodwill or your Value Village or your Salvation Army, make sure you're doing that, because a lot of times they'll have entire sections of antique and vintage books. I sold it for $128.75. It was $10.75 to ship because of something that we have here in the United States called media mail. I do not know for sure if any of the other countries have it, but I know here in the United States we have something that we call media mail, and that means you can ship books, DVDs, CDs, anything like that for literally a fraction of the cost. So this was probably 10 pounds in books, and I could ship it easily for $10.75. So I made a profit of $100 on this one. Next on our list is the 1956 brass rotary telephone. This was really cool, guys. I picked this up at a yard sale. Picked it up at a yard sale over the summer. I had it for approximately, again, 2 weeks before it sold. It was a super fast sell, but it was an old, 1956 brass rotary telephone. I looked it up. It's called a kettle phone. They're made in Germany. They're really, really popular, and according to the previous owner, it still worked. I sold that to a gentleman who collects older phones and actually hooks them up in his house and uses them. This was gonna go on his desk, and it's really cool because you can see this handle here, and it flips up and you can carry it around. And so purchase cost was $5. I sold it for $150. I believe I sold this one on Facebook. I made a profit of $144.80. Next one on the list is a 1960s Mahjong game set. So this was actually given to us by Josh's family. Josh's grandfather and grandmother passed away in the last few years. His grandfather passed away about 3 or 4 years ago, and his grandmother passed away this year. And so we were cleaning out the family house, and this was given to us with the full intention of selling it. So it was something that has never been opened. The family didn't even know they owned it. He came to us, and they said that is wonderful. They're glad it found a loving home. So this was an unopened Mahjong set that Josh's grandfather brought back from Vietnam, and it's in beautiful condition. These were still in their plastic wrap, actually. It's just a really beautiful bamboo on the back. We did find one other set online that sold for around $300. So we kind of lowballed this one a little bit. We accepted a best price and sold it for $229. There were fees and taxes of $33.85. So we made a profit of $195.15. So again, guys, make sure you're keeping an eye out for games. I've sold so many games this year. Games sell really, really well if they're vintage and they still have all of their parts. In fact, we have a $150 puzzle from B. Clibben that is set to go on sale probably sometime this week. It's got all of its pieces and it goes for around $150. Insanely rare. Oh my God, guys. I can't believe that this one did not win the top prize, but this was a figurine probably about this tall. I might be exaggerating on that. It might be even this tall. Really tiny porcelain bisque figurine. He was in need of a little bit of help. He is a little bit dirty on the front. There's something weird dripping down his back. You can also see clearly that it says copyright Harpo Marx. I picked him up because I love the Marx Brothers. I think old Hollywood is really, really cool. I knew exactly who the Marx Brothers were. So I picked up this figurine at a thrift store for $1. I did a little bit of research on him, and it turns out he was the very first piece of merchandise that Harpo Marx came out with. There's also a Groucho Marx figurine as well, if you can find it. And Groucho tends to be a little bit harder than Harpo. That being said, this is still only the third one in existence that I could ever find online. I did a bunch of research. They've all sold for anywhere between $200 and $500 since 2004, but they're considered to be the very first piece of merchandise that Harpo Marx came out with in the early 1900s and 1930s. So I thought that was really, really cool. So that being said, I bought him for $1, and then I sold him for $278.25. He costs $33.38 to sell. Okay, so we made a profit of $243.87, and I believe I sold him on Mercari. Oh no, I sold him on Etsy. I sold that guy on Etsy. Harpo Marx has a wonderful new life, hopefully in a glass cabinet somewhere else in the United States. Finally, guys.
Would you like it gift wrapped?
I sold a new, this is the top of the list, this is the biggest profit we made this year, a new genuine Ford trailer mounted trailer tire, TPMS, and camera kit, because that's how I roll. So my parents are full-time RVers across the country. They've been doing this for the last year. When they first got started, they do what a lot of us do, and they get a whole bunch of things that they think they're going to need, and then a year later they find out that they've never opened it. So they spent about $500 on this Ford trailer mounted backup camera. And then it's also a pressure sensor. Which is the TPMS. So it senses your pressure on your tires as well as gives you a backup camera, which I think is a very bizarre combination, but whatever. I guess Ford knows what they're doing. So it was a big kit. It came in a box and a whole bunch of different little pieces. I listed it on eBay. I got it for free because my parents gave it to me, and sold it for $385. It cost me $44 because I sent it priority, and I made a profit of $340.64. That was the biggest profit of the year. And you guys, keep an eye out. Make sure that your friends and family know what you're doing, because let me tell you, they're going to try to give you some really crappy things to sell. A lot of times they're going to give you some really great things that you just need to flip. They'll say, I just want it out of my house. Can you just take it and sell it? Yes, my family does it. Josh's family does that. I basically run an online yard sale. But we make a lot of money doing it. So make sure that you are utilizing Etsy for vintage, and then make sure that you're utilizing eBay for things like genuine Ford trailer mount tire pressure sensor thingies. And car stuff sells really, really well. It sells relatively fast and relatively well if it's new and still in working order. So when you're at those thrift stores, keep an eye out for car stuff because it really does flip pretty darn fast. So with that being said, let's head back to the larger office screen. Not so much this little bubble thing. Oh my god. So how cool were some of those cells? I am still absolutely in love with that little Marks figurine. Like, that was such a cool find. I found him for $1. I was in love with that sale. That was probably my favorite sale of 2019. And of course the camel, always gonna have a special place in my heart because it was one of my first sales. I absolutely love that guy. So yeah, just keep in mind going into 2020, as you're looking for things on the shelf, don't look for the things that are going to make you the $10 or the $15 in profit. Yes, I sold a lot of that stuff over the 2019 year. I've started to keep an eye out for things that are unique, things that I think are valuable and that other people are going to find the same amount of value in. So let's set a goal right now to have a insanely profitable 2020. Keep your learning caps on, keep buying things that everyone else is buying, but buy those things that look special to you. Buy those things that you think might be unique, not what you think other people might think are unique. That was meta. Wrapping this up, going ahead and follow me on Instagram. Make sure you're hitting that subscribe button below. That is right below here. And also don't forget to hit that bell because that means that you guys are going to be able to see when I have published something new. The links to the shop and everything that we've discussed are below in the description box. And if you want to watch a video that YouTube thinks is perfect for you, be sure to click the one that is being suggested right now. And tell me below, what was your best thrift of 2019? What gave you the most profit or gave you the most tingles in 2019? And tell me that below. Put that in the description box below. And with that being said, I will see you guys next Friday. Bye.